Hello, wonderful people. I hope you guys are doing great. I'm very, very happy to be here today. We're going to be discussing something really interesting and exciting. So, guys, join in, join in this live video. It's going to be full of fun. It's going to be a quick one, but full of course, great nuggets and lessons that you can take away. I hope you guys are doing great. Drop me a comment. Let me know where you guys are watching me from. I'm recording this video from the very beautiful city of Manassas. I'm based in Northern Virginia. That's where my law office is based. And we represent clients, well, we represent immigrants throughout the United States, all 50 states, and even around the world. So I'm currently live on Facebook and currently live on Instagram. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome on Instagram. If you watch this live video on YouTube later, you're very welcome. There are many people on Instagram, but Facebookers probably sleeping or something. But anyway, guys, welcome to this live video. Let me put this up right here, this banner. We're going to be chatting about inadmissibility to the US due to fraud. Okay, if you are found inadmissible to the United States due to fraud, what does it even mean, first of all, and how do you overcome this inadmissibility? Guys, drop me your comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'm going to be reading them before we start, and I'll be reading them in the middle of the video. So we have Nilaba 997 who says, I'm from Virginia, Centerville. Oh, that's awesome. We are close by. Tori Tano says she's in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay, and then we have Mary Edudankwa who says she's watching from Ghana. That's awesome. Wendell's Haven says she's also watching from Ghana. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, guys. Very soon I see that people sending in requests to join this live video. What we're going to be doing is I'll start doing a show where you guys can call in and then ask me your immigration law questions. Ask me your immigration law questions and all your concerns, and then we'll try to address them. Oh my gosh. What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Oop. I'm not sure why you guys cannot hear me. Huh. That's crazy. I have no idea. Oh my gosh. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Drop me a comment if you can hear me on Instagram. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't even know how to rectify this. Oop, oop, oop. I have no idea. Okay, guys, can you hear me on Instagram? Can you guys hear me on Instagram? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, please. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Drop me the comments on Instagram if you guys can hear me. What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Oh my goodness. Oh no. I'm sorry, Facebookers, please hold on. I'm not sure why Instagram cannot hear me. I have no idea what's going on. This is fortunate. Facebookers, I'm so sorry I've kept you guys holding on. I'm actually connecting from two devices, Instagram and Facebook, and for some reason the Instagram people could not hear me, and we had so many people on Instagram. So I'm going to be trying to reconnect on Instagram, and then we can just jump into everything. Okay, perfect. Guys, I'm back. I hope you guys can hear me now. Let me see. Let me wait for a few more people to troop in. So today we're going to be talking about inadmissibility to the United States due to fraud. Okay. The last time we discussed inadmissibility that's based on misrepresentation. Guys, can you now hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, drop me an emoji if you can hear me. An emoji waving or clapping or any type of emoji if you can hear me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I like the thumbs up emoji. Thank you. So they can hear me. Everything is clear now. Welcome back. I'm so sorry for that disconnect. I'm not sure what happened. This is the second time I'm coming live on Instagram, so I still have to figure out how to just get my way around, like just get used to the app. Okay, guys, so let's get started. We've wasted enough time with everything. So what does it mean if you get a finding that you are inadmissible? Okay, this is a very dreaded thing because there are so many grounds of inadmissibility. But what we're going to be focusing on is one thing I've noticed is quite common in a number of the consultations that I have and in a number of immigrants, people trying to come to the United States. This is a very, very, very common ground of inadmissibility. Being inadmissible to the United States simply means that you actually cannot be allowed to come into the United States. If you're an immigrant, you will not be allowed to get a visa. And if you're here already in the United States and you are inadmissible, it means that you cannot adjust your status. So there are three ways. So if you are an intending immigrant trying to come into the United States through an immigrant visa, you will not be allowed to come. Secondly, if you're non-immigrants, meaning that you want to just come to the US for a visit, come do some shopping or whatever, again, you will not be allowed to come because you are inadmissible. If you're trying to adjust your status, you will not be allowed to come because you're simply inadmissible. Inadmissibility is a term of art. It's a legal term of art. It means that there's something wrong with just allowing you to come. Okay, so there are many grounds of inadmissibility, and one of the very popular grounds is known as inadmissibility due to fraud. Okay, the other time we discussed inadmissibility, which is due to inadmissibility that's due to can you guys hear me? I just reconnected my microphone on Instagram. Please let me know if you guys can hear me or if I've muted. Give me a thumbs up, drop the emoji, thumbs up emoji if you guys can hear me. And if you are on Instagram, drop me a mighty thumbs up emoji. Let me make sure that you guys can actually hear me and there's no disconnect again. Okay, so if you are Instagram, can you hear me? Instagram, can you hear me? Okay. I think they can hear me. Awesome, awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Ajwa Windels, Nilaba, Tori. I appreciate you guys. Ketre, thank you guys so much for showing that you guys can hear me. So you need to show. So in the Immigration and Nationality Act, which is the statute that actually governs U.S. immigration law, it says that to be able to come to the United States or to be able to get a green card, you have to be admissible. And so what it means is that you are not barred from entering the US or from getting a green card. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this issue because a lot of immigrants have this very big issue. They are usually found inadmissible due to fraud or misrepresentation, and this is under Section 212 A6CI of the Immigration and Nationality Act. I'll pull up the statute again, but I've seen it so many times that it's in my head. I just want to make sure the subsections I quoted are correct, but pretty much that. And so normally when the US immigration determines that you are inadmissible based on fraud or misrepresentation, you need to make sure that US immigration or the US government actually has evidence to back what they're saying, because the sanctions are huge. Again, inadmissibility is a permanent bar. Okay, you see, there are other types of inadmissibility. You could be inadmissible for 3 years or barred for 10 years. But if you're inadmissible due to fraud or misrepresentation, it's a permanent bar. You cannot come to the United States. You cannot get a green card. You cannot come. You simply cannot be allowed to stay here until or unless you overturn that finding or you file something known as a waiver to overcome that ground of inadmissibility. So today we're going to be discussing, I'll give you guys examples. Like I'm going to really give you, real life examples so that you can understand these concepts really well. The first thing is that um, normally when you file any type of application to the US government, right, you have to back your application with evidence. You can they usually consider oral evidence, written evidence, testimonial evidence, or any type of documentation. And sometimes what happens is that you will be found inadmissible if there are issues with anything that you present. So, for example, if you say that, let me pull this up right here. Let's say you are based in Ghana or abroad, and you go to the embassy, somebody has invited you, you start dating a new boyfriend, or maybe you've begun some business and you want to come and do you want to come to the US to take supplies back to your country to sell or whatever, and then you want to go for a visa for that purpose, and you're very excited, right? And you go to the embassy, and then they ask you, okay, are you married in your country, in your home of residence? And then you say yes, you're married. Meanwhile, you're not married, and then you present a fake marriage certificate just to show the consular that, oh, look, I'm actually married in Ghana, in Nigeria, in my home country. And if you give me a visa to come abroad, I'm going to return because my husband is based in my home country. This is, fake. This is false. This is wrong information. And based on that, if you are discovered, you will be either given the misrepresentation bar or the fraud bar. The difference between misrepresentation and fraud, I believe I covered that in another video, but briefly, they have all the same grounds or the same elements. The only difference is that with fraud, the officer, the U.S. immigration officer, should have believed you and acted on that false information you provided. With misrepresentation, it doesn't have that element, but there are other elements that intersect. So let's go through a few of the grounds, and then we will I will tell you guys what the burden of proof is and how to overcome, that burden. Normally, let's start by saying that the burden of proof is, oh my gosh, I don't know why Instagram, thank God we're back on Instagram. There was a brief pause, but we're back. I don't know why Instagram keeps disconnecting, but normally if you are applying for any type of U.S. immigration benefits, the burden of proof is on you, the benefit requester. So remember, you're the one asking. If you're asking for anything, you have to show the people that you deserve what you're asking for. As I keep telling you, you do that through oral, documentary, testimonial evidence, okay? So that's the burden on you. And okay. And again, as I stated, the US government cannot just say that, oh, you are inadmissible based on fraud or misrepresentation when they don't have evidence to substantiate it. Okay. Normally, the standard is that they should have evidence that will permit a reasonable person to conclude that indeed you are inadmissible based on fraud or misrepresentation. Okay. That's the ground. And normally what happens is that if in order to overcome this finding, you have to be able to successfully rebut the finding that has been put on you. Okay. And so, for example, if the US government receives a document from you that claims that you are married, right? And then they go and check with the state department or the agency in your country that registers marriages, and your marriage is not registered, then they have reason to believe that she's trying to pull a fast one on us. She's trying to game the system. She's actually not married. And so if you are, guys, remember that materiality matters. Okay. For example, if you're trying to go for a B2 visa or a visitor's visa, you need to demonstrate ties to your home country, showing that you don't intend to come and live in the US and become undocumented, and that you're going to return to your country. So as part of demonstrating eligibility, people want to prove that, oh, I have children in my home country, I'm married, and so give me the visa for just 6 months. Give me the visa for 5 years. I'm going to go to the US for just 2 months and I'll be back in my home country. So you should be able to rebut successfully this finding against you. And there is a strategy to how you can do this properly. Okay. Let me pull this up. Okay. Let's scroll down. Guys, drop me your comments. I will be with you guys soon. We'll be discussing how to successfully rebut these things. Okay. So take it now you have been charged, or you have inadmissibility on your record due to fraud or misrepresentation. What do you do? Normally, you, the applicant, you have the burden of establishing at least one of the following facts to rebut the finding. Okay, we're going to be discussing the elements very briefly. The first thing is that you did not make the false representation or the misrepresentation. You didn't make it in order to procure a benefit. So, if you went to the U.S. embassy and then you stated that, for example, you maybe you have 100 shoes, you have 100 Louboutin shoes, right, in your closet. That misrepresentation was not made to procure a visa or admission or some benefits in U.S. immigration law, because having 100 shoes in your closet has no bearing. It doesn't influence any adjudicator to give you a visa, or it doesn't make you more eligible for a benefit. But if you state, for example, in an adjustment of status application, you are here in the United States and you get married to a U.S. citizen, and you state that you got married to them to establish life with them, and then there's evidence that no, you actually got married just to get a green card, it was a transactional marriage, then that misrepresentation was made to procure a visa. So that satisfies the first ground. Then there should be, of course, there should be false representation. But again, if there is false representation, then clearly you are liable under fraud or misrepresentation. But if you want to overturn the finding, you need to rebut the finding that indeed there was no false representation. So if you can substantiate your proof, your claims, if you state that, okay, yes, I married this person to establish life with them, you need to substantiate those claims by demonstrating the bona fides of your marriage. Okay, so that's an example. Let's move on. I know that discussing law can sometimes be a little, so I'm just trying to make sure that you guys are not too bored easily. Drop me your questions and your comments. I'll be reading them very shortly. Again, this is just a very quick live video, what is known as a quickie, so we'll be gone soon. The third thing is that you need to be able to rebut the finding that the false representation was willful. Okay, guys, let me reiterate the standard again. If you are found liable to have misrepresented anything, or liable under Section 212A6CI of the Immigration and Nationality Act, meaning that you either falsely represented or you are liable for fraud or misrepresentation, then the standard is that you have the burden as the applicant to establish that at least one of the grounds was not true. Okay, so even if you are just able to establish that the fraud wasn't made to procure a visa, there was no false representation, the false representation was not willful, it was just inadvertent, it wasn't deliberate, it was not made to a U.S. government official, you did not intend to deceive, and the government official did not believe or act upon the false representation, then you have successfully rebutted this, and they cannot tell you that you are inadmissible based on fraud or misrepresentation. Okay, so there are ways, as I said, to rebut these things. Let's go to the third one. Sometimes some people will go to the passport office and then they'll tell the passport office their date of birth, and then there's an error. There's an error on the part of the passport office. They write, let's say, you were born on 1st January 2021. And then they write, you were born on 1st January 2020. Well, let's say, 1st January 2020. That's a mistake. But it wasn't willful. If you present this document and they realize that there's a discrepancy on your form, you correctly stated the year 2021, but on your passport it's 2020. And then they bar you under fraud. Okay. Let's say you've already obtained the visa, you come into the United States and you go on your second visa. You're trying to, let's say, renew a visa, and then they say, okay, there's fraud here because you gave us a wrong date of birth. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice it. It was not willful. You can't establish, of course, through legal arguments that this false representation of your date of birth was absolutely not willful. It was inadvertent, and it was not intentional. And then again, you need to demonstrate that it was not material. That could be just one of the grounds for successfully rebut. If you are even able to establish that one of the grounds was not established, then you are exculpated from, fraud or misrepresentation finding. Okay, so you can demonstrate that the representation was not material. Materiality has a whole new definition in law. I don't want to go through all of that. But I believe you guys understand what this means. As I tell people, it's not your job to understand all these things. It's my job to understand it, and I do. So if you have a misrepresentation finding against you or a finding of fraud against you, make sure you contact us, contact my office. We're going to help you review it to see if the US government actually met their burden. They had enough proof. They had substantive, they had proof that any reasonable person would say, oh, yes, there's fraud or there's misrepresentation. And even if they did, we can still overcome the findings of fraud against you, okay? Or the finding of misrepresentation. Sometimes you might not need to file a waiver because, in fact, that the finding itself will be flawed. It will be a misinterpretation of law, and we can actually help you to fight it and overcome it. But if indeed there was fraud or there was misrepresentation, there are also various types of waivers that we can file on your behalf to make sure that that finding of fraud can be waived temporarily or, indefinitely, for you to be able to enjoy the US immigration benefits that you deserve. Okay, guys, do you guys have any questions, concerns? I'm going to be reading comments on Facebook. I know I've neglected you. Yes, because I have the majority of the people on Instagram. So let me take this off. We've done 21 minutes already. Okay, let me read some comments from my Facebook people. We have Ochieng Wasike Kevin, who says, hey, watching from South Carolina. Awesome. That's Kevin watching us from Facebook and from South Carolina. And then Kojo Physique. He didn't say anything, but you're welcome to this live video. Thank you for watching. Okay, so Abna Yali says, lawyer, could you please discuss the future status of the lady who had a baby en route to the US? Does her visa get cancelled? Assuming she's a B1, B2 visa holder, a little education will go a long way. Okay, great. I actually got a bunch of questions about this woman. I think that's a great suggestion. I'll be doing a live video. So many people were asking me questions based on this on WhatsApp groups. And so I gave a bit of education concerning this woman. There was a video that went viral, a news article that went viral. A woman delivered a baby en route to the US on US territorial waters. And a bunch of people were asking, is she a Ghanaian baby? Is she an American baby? So I'll do a live video on that very soon. But yes, if you're born, there's the principle of jus soli. If you're born on, US territory, which is US waters, you are a US citizen. But about the woman, it depends on, there's so many permutations. What type of visa she had, I don't know. And then we'll look at the consequences according to the Foreign Affairs Manual, which is the, what adjudicates consular processing. And, we'll take a look at all that. I'll do a live video concerning that. And thank you, Abna, for joining and for drawing my attention to that. That's a really good topic that we will be discussing. Charles said, what if it's inadmissibility to a different country? Does it affect your US visa? Well, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I mean, what has that got to do with the US? Of course, unless you are, it depends on the grounds. Again, if you are somebody who's a terrorist and the US hears that, oh, you've been blacklisted as a terrorist, certainly that could affect you. So it depends on the grounds and, all of that. But if normally the US will not know that you have been found in and so they don't really care about, unless there's some connection and they're able to find out and it has bearing on the United States and you become somebody who becomes a threat to public safety, or you fall under any of the other grounds of inadmissibility, such as health. So again, if you're inadmissible to another country based on health, for example, then of course there's a problem because, for example, in the past, people with HIV/AIDS were inadmissible to the US, but now they are no longer inadmissible. But currently, people with tuberculosis are inadmissible. And if you don't have the COVID vaccine, you're inadmissible based on health grounds and all of that. So there are just so many variations. If you need my help, just try to see if you can contact me and I will assist you guys. That's my number right there. I've enjoyed this live video. I hope you guys did too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm doing a roundtable discussion on Black History Month with a bunch of other attorneys, and we're going to be discussing, it will be a very powerful session. We'll be discussing the contributions of, Black people to the United States and how Black lawyers are, breaking barriers, and we're doing amazing things representing people around the United States, and we're not letting our accents or our backgrounds impede us. We're winning, winning, winning every day, all the way, and winning for the good of our community. Okay, so guys, let me leave you guys here. I'll reach back again later. Hopefully, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the live video. Make sure to join us. I shared details of the video on my pages, so please be sure to check it out. And if you're watching from YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share our videos to encourage us to do more and for YouTube to show our videos to everybody that watches YouTube. Okay, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Please take care, be safe, and stay blessed. Thank you for joining in. Bye-bye.